going on, people? This is John of Pipney, and welcome back to another sports reaction. And before the start of the video, just remember to like and subscribe and share the video, and make sure to comment down below. I'm almost there to 500 subscribers. I'm about at 267, so just make sure to like and subscribe. Just keep this content going and just keep the channel growing. I deeply appreciate it. But now on to the official video. And the Chicago Bears did squeak past the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 2, 20-17. And also the Cleveland Browns managed to get a 10-point victory against the Texans, 31-21. Right as of right now, both teams is coming off victories at 1-1. Cleveland should have been 2-0, with them shocking everyone by beating the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 1. And of course, we know exactly how everything went down for the Bears in Week 1 against those Los Angeles Rams. So we're just going to break down the keys to the game for both teams and see what both teams have to do in order to get this victory. And on top of that, discuss which key players will have the biggest impact in this game and what do they have to do as the opposing team to also stop them as well. And of course, to jump things off with the keys of the game, the first key is to try to get the quarterback situation in order. Who will be your starter? Who will be the one playing all the time between Andy Dalton and Justin Fields? Now, Andy Dalton in the previous game, before he went out with an injury, was 9 of 10 with a pass and touchdown, and the Bears was able to move the ball a little bit up and down the field, despite the fact that the offensive line could not sustain their blocks in terms of pass blocking. So if the Bears definitely want to stay in rhythm offensively, they have to make sure they make the key decision this week in determining whether if Justin Fields will be the full-time starter or will Andy Dalton be the full-time starter. No more dilly-dadding, switching up between the players. Just make sure you play the right player and also call the right plays to put those type of players in the position they need to succeed based on their skill set. Key number 2, you definitely have to get David Montgomery the football a lot more. Yeah, he was held in check a little bit by that Cincinnati defense, but he was also held in check by Coach Matt Nagy not providing him the football for the second consecutive week. Not enough touches for David Montgomery. If you get David Montgomery the football, then the Chicago Bears will have a better chance in getting a victory against the Cleveland Browns, but only if he receives the football adequately, and that allows him to open up lanes for Allen Robinson to be able to catch balls down the field, Darnell Mooney to catch balls down the field, Marquise Goodwin and other essential players on the Bears offense. But in order for that to really come into play, once again, David Montgomery has to receive the football more than 20 times a game. And keys to the game number 3 is very definite. Is trying to make sure to get Allen Robinson the football a lot more and putting Khalil Mack in better position to get ready to rush the passer at all times. Now, he did get his first sack of the season, and Allen Robinson did get his first receiving touchdown of the season. But both of these guys so far have looked lackluster through the first 2 games of the season. And they're not looking like the guys that the Bears need right now. Khalil Mack is starting to look overpaid as of right now. And Allen Robinson definitely does not look like he deserved to receive that extra money at this point in the season. Yes, it is 2 games throughout the season. It is still 15 games left in the season, and they can definitely turn it around. But the Bears offensive play callers definitely have to make sure to get these guys in position. And on top of that, if Justin Fields does turn out to be the starter because Andy Dalton is not able to play because of that knee injury, then the Bears definitely have to make sure they make the right play calls specifically for him. And if that means that Matt Nagy has to give a play call and give it back to Bill Lazor and allow him to put Justin Fields in the right position, much like he did Mitchell Trubisky last year, then I guess that's what he's going to have to do now. The chances of him doing it is very slim because he's just one of those stubborn guys that just like to go down with the ship no matter how bad is burning up. So hopefully that does not happen, and the Bears try to be in the best position. And the last key to the game, the most critical key to the game for the Chicago Bears, is that defense and especially that secondary. The secondary did come in and they did play a lot more efficient than they did in that debut against the Los Angeles Rams, but it still was a lot of holes in that defense, particularly Duke Shelley and Kendall Vildor. Now, Kendall Vildor did step up. He did play a lot better, and he did give up a touchdown towards the end of the game. But for the most part, he did play excellent out there. He did play very improved and motivated. But Duke Shelley, he needs to be replaced immediately. He did not look like he knew exactly where he was out there at all times. Yeah, he did make a lot of big tackles, but big tackles doesn't mean anything if the guy is always running past you. You have to chase him down. So those who are one of the main things that the Bears definitely has to improve in is in that secondary. Their defensive line did come to play this past week against Cincinnati, but that Cincinnati offensive line is straight up ass, and I do not believe that Cleveland Browns offensive line is anywhere near as bad as that offensive line. So the Bears definitely going to have to put in a big effort at every stage of the game, from a D-line to the linebackers to the secondary, play a complete game on defense in order to secure that victory against the Cleveland Browns, because if not, the Browns will take over quickly and dominate the Chicago Bears. And of course, those was the keys of the game for the Chicago Bears. Now moving on to the Cleveland Browns keys of the game. And their main key to the game, of course, is that defense. Continue to ride that defense, particularly that defensive line and Myles Garrett. Now, of course, Cleveland do have very good players all around the field, but the one that really makes their defense tick is Myles Garrett, who is the heart of that defense. And if he goes out there and he starts making plays, it gets the other players hype out there, and they go out there and they try harder to make plays. That's the type of player Myles Garrett is. He is the type of guy to motivate an entire team, much like Brian Urlacher was for the Bears, much like plenty of players was for the Cleveland Browns over the years. Guys that just make plays, and all they need is just one big play from them, and then boom, the whole team start playing a lot better. Much like Josh Gordon was for Cleveland so many years ago when he was at wide receiver. Once he made a big play, all of a sudden now that Cleveland offense start turning, those wheels start turning, and they start being able to score. That's what Myles Garrett is for this defense. And if the Bears cannot contain him and hold him at bay, then good luck with that, because with that putrid offensive line that the Bears do have, having plenty of guys out and also not being able to adequately block the quarterback position, with how good that defensive line is, they will shred through that Bears offensive line and end up with 5 to 6, maybe possibly 7 sacks. And of course, the second key of the game for the Cleveland Browns is Nick Chubb. He is an explosive running back. He will truck you. He will juke you. He will outrun you. He is everything for the Cleveland Browns offense. And the only reason how the Bears will be able to stop Cleveland Brown is to stop Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is one of those guys that can just anchor an entire offense. You don't really need no big time receivers. You don't even need a big time offensive line. As long as you got a cognate offensive line and okay receivers, with a guy like Nick Chubb, he can just go out there. He can get you 3 touchdowns. He can get you over 150 yards rushing. And that's what he is, and that's what the Cleveland Browns desperately depend on. Because with him being able to dominate the game as well as he can in the run game, along with him and Kareem Hunt coming out the backfield being able to catch the football, that allows for guys like Baker Mayfield, who is an upper echelon in quarterback, to be able to go out there and use the play action pass and definitely dominate out there and get the ball to guys like Odell Beckham Jr. and more out there. Guys like Jarvis Landry and also Jamarcus Bradley, guys that is very young and very fast out there in the open field. But as of right now, I do not know if Odell Beckham Jr. will be playing in this game. Of course, I heard that Baker Mayfield is hurt as well, but I believe that Baker Mayfield will be able to come back and play in this game. And he's not going to allow the Cleveland Browns to wind up falling to 1-2 to start off the season. But of course, both teams, like I said before, is coming off victories. The Bears against Cincinnati, Cleveland against the Texans. But they're both swinging in two separate directions. Cleveland offense is looking very, very good out there. Ever since the first half against the Kansas City Chiefs, the Cleveland Browns defense has not looked as dominant as it usually has looked over the past few years, especially since Myles Garrett has showed up in the league. And the Bears offense is actually looking a little bit better, but their defense is starting to drop down. But their defense did rise up this week against the Cincinnati Bengals, and that Bears offense still looks very putrid. So it's going to be that Bears improved defense from the previous week against the Cleveland Browns offense that's looking better and better, and then it's the Bears offense that's looking very ass over the past few weeks, and against the Cleveland's defense that has not looked good since the first half against Kansas City. And what is my prediction so far? As of right now, regardless if Cleveland is missing Odell Beckham Jr., Cleveland Browns seem to have played better when Odell Beckham is not in the game. So right now, I am picking the Cleveland Browns to beat the Chicago Bears 28-20 as of right now. The Bears offense have not shown me anything that to show me and let me know that they can win this game. They have shown that they can move the football at times, that they can possibly score, but they are not consistent enough to be able to go against a Cleveland Browns team that know their identity, that know who they are, and knows what to do. The Bears offensively is still trying to find their identity and still can't get things together offensively, and still trying to find out who is going to be their starting quarterback. So until all of those things is situated, until then, the Bears will lose this game, like I said, to Cleveland, 28-20. But that will be it for me, guys. Once again, this is John of Pimney bringing it back to you with another sports reaction. Just make sure to like and subscribe and share the video and comment down below and let me know who do you believe will win this game between the Chicago Bears and the Cleveland Browns. All right, people. Peace out and have a safe day.